What is good, YouTube, man? Today I'm back with you guys, with the nation, for another video, man. And today we got us a good one, man. We have us a good video. And I'm kind of so glad that I can make this kind of video now without having to speculate, what are we going to do in the draft? I was able to do a bit of it before because we already know what we did in free agency. But, now that our players are most likely, we kind of know who's going to make the roster, who's not. But, we know who's on this roster for now, right? So I can make this video now. And I'm really happy that, like I said, there's no speculation who we're going to draft, who we're going to get in the first round, second round, third round. We have the guys that we drafted. We have the guys that we went undrafted. So we know who's on this roster right now, right? So we know. And really quick, I have to give a shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, IC_Nate. He is the creator of mostly all these thumbnails, man. Please go check out his channel out. It is IC_Nate on YouTube. Go check his page out, man. He makes really good content as well. But let's get into today's video, man. So, as you can see by the title, as you can see by the thumbnail, I'm talking about who is going to be on this week 1 Raiders defense. Who is starting, man? Who is starting? And I'm going to break down. I'm really just going to go over just the base defense today. Just the base 4-3 under. I'm going to just talk about each position, right? So, I'm going to start from the D-line. I'm going to go from the ground up. I'm going to go from where Gus Bradley likes. I'm going to start in the trenches, man. I'm going to start in the trenches. I'm going to start with the man, the myth, the legend, Yannick Ngakoue, man. Yannick Ngakoue is 110% gonna be starting, in my opinion, on that edge. There's no doubt in my mind that he starts, right? I mean, if he doesn't, that would be crazy if he were to not start week 1. But yeah, I believe that week 1, Yannick Ngakoue is gonna bring that veteran presence, gonna bring that elite pass rush ability, gonna be able to cause some turnovers. He's starting week 1 on that edge spot number 1. Edge number 2 might be a surprise. Some of you guys might not be a surprise. Some of you guys might think that this is not smart, but I'm going to go with Clelin Ferrell starting on the opposite side of Yannick Ngakoue for the simple fact that we can't have 2 liability in the run games on both edges. We cannot have that. Also, last year, Clelin Ferrell proved to be getting better in that pass rushing role as the year went on. And yes, once again, right before we thought he was going to hit his peak, something happened, right? So I believe that this year will be his biggest year for this team. We have a lot of rotation, so he won't have to be playing as many snaps, being out there to get hurt and that kind of stuff. So I think that Yannick is going to start on edge 1, and Clelin Ferrell is going to be edge number 2, going to really be solid on that run, on that opposite side of Yannick Ngakoue, and I really am happy. Now, comes to defensive tackles, right? I mean, defensive tackle number 1, we're going to start with the nose tackle. In that nose tackle, it's one of 2 people, right? It's either Quinton Jefferson or Jonathan Hankins. In my opinion, it'll be Jonathan Hankins week 1 starting at defensive tackle number 1, playing that nose technique, playing that run-stopping guy, playing that 2, trying to, that double team role. He's trying to cause a lot of double teams in his way to free up our 3 technique. I believe our 3 technique week 1 will be not Solomon Thomas. It won't be Darius Philon. It won't be Kendall Vickers. But I believe that it'll be David Irving starting that 3 technique week 1. Of course, there's going to be a ton of rotation with this 3 technique. I mean, like I just named, we have Darius Philon. Darius Stills, in my opinion, is going to make this roster. Solomon Thomas, Kendall Vickers has a real good shot at making this roster. Also, Quinton Jefferson was a 3 technique before making to the Buffalo Bills. So there's a lot of competition there. But week 1, what do you guys think of that? Yannick, Clelin, and in the middle, you got Jonathan Hankins and David Irving. I think that's a stout defensive line, and we have a lot of good pass rush specialists that could be rotating in and out on pass rushing situations. But let's go to the second level, man. Let's go to the second level, one of the most important levels of this defense, and that is linebacker. I'm going to start off Mike Linebacker, also known as middle linebacker, one of our bright spots of our team last year, and that was recent free agent acquisition 1 year ago from the Chicago Bears, Nick Kwiatkowski, right? Nick Kwiatkowski is our day 1 110% middle linebacker. There's no way that he does not start week 1 unless, something terrible happens in training camp that we don't even want to just think about. But week 1, Nick Kwiatkowski is 110%. He has no competition for his job, man. He has no competition. There's nobody beating him out there for that job. I mean, I believe we have 1 middle linebacker, and he's on this roster, and he's a freaking undrafted free agent, I believe. So he has really no competition when it comes to middle linebacker. And I do believe that that's fine because Nick Kwiatkowski is a hard worker, in my opinion. But, you know, like we said before, we preached it about the defensive line, man. Competition is key, so maybe we need to get another guy to compete with Nick Kwiatkowski. But week one, Nick Kwiatkowski is for sure 110% our guy at middle linebacker. Now, let's go to the strong side linebacker because we have a lot of competition in that will linebacker position. But let's go to strong side linebacker, also known as Sam linebacker. And I believe that this year, because of how flooded our weak side linebacker room is so packed now, I believe that Corey Littleton is now our strong side linebacker. Yes, he is a bit undersized for the classic strong side linebacker, but that's okay, right? He played a lot of strong side linebacker. He even rushed the passer a good amount in that system over there with I believe it was something Wade from the Rams, and you know, he played pretty well, and he is a very high IQ kind of football player, very smart. So yes, he is a bit undersized to play strong side linebacker, but that's okay. He has a lot of experience in the NFL, has a lot of experience in a defense much like this with similar rules since he came from a 3-4, and this has a lot of similarities when it comes to the rules, man. You know, I really like the fact that he'll be able to go to that side. You know, there's no problem in my opinion with him being our strong side linebacker. I think he'll be just fine. And just the fact that everybody in this linebacking group will just become a lot better because of how simple this new scheme is, right? But let's get on to the other side. And, you know, there's a lot of options that you can go with at that weak side linebacker. I mean, starting off, you have Tanner Muse, who was a 3rd round pick, was going to play linebacker, so to speak, when it comes to John Gruden. You also have Javin White that's there. You also have new acquisition Divine Diablo, but you also have Nicholas Morrow that you re-signed, right? And let's talk about it, right? So I really believe that at the end of the day, it comes down to 2 guys, and it comes down to Divine Diablo and Nicholas Morrow. Week 1, I do believe our starter will be Nicholas Morrow, right? I think it just has to be, you know, he's been in the league. He's proven that he could do it in this league. You know, Divine Diablo, I'm not saying that he won't be able to do it. He will 100% be able to do it in this league. But I think you got to give him a bit of time, a couple snaps, a couple weeks. I say that week 1, Nicholas Morrow has to be our weak side linebacker, and there is no problem with that at all. I mean, this is a guy that Gus Bradley wanted to bring back, so he sees good things with Nicholas Morrow, right? He sees a lot of good with Nicholas Morrow, and I'm stoked about it, right? I'm happy. I have no issues. I do believe, though, that about like week 4, week 5, I do believe that Divine Diablo will probably be taking the majority of the snaps on that weak side, playing that will linebacker or weak side linebacker, however you guys like to say it. But let's go into the defensive back room. Let's go into this very stacked defensive back room now after the draft. Let me start off with the safeties, right? I believe the only set-in-stone safety that we have right now is strong safety. Strong safety in the system, though, will be playing very close to the line of scrimmage with those linebackers, right? And that is Jonathan Abram. Jonathan Abram this year is going to be playing 8 to 10 yards away from the play at all times, and he will be, in my opinion, our starting strong safety. Now, he has a lot of competition, right? You bring back Carl Joseph, you bring in Tyree Gillespie, you have a guy in Divine Diablo who also plays strong safety a lot, but we all know he will be playing will linebacker. But week 1, obviously, I believe that Jonathan Abram is going to be that strong safety. He will be basically that 4th linebacker, sharing that middle of the field with our weak side linebacker, strong side linebacker, and Nick Kwiatkowski as our middle linebacker. I do believe that Jonathan Abram right now is our week 1 starter. I don't believe that he will lose that spot because I do believe that in the system where he doesn't have to do so much, he will just flourish. I honestly believe that. I honestly believe that in the system, he'll do just fine. He will do just fine, and he'll probably do a lot more than what we all expect, right? But let's go to that free safety spot. I know that we have Tyree Gillespie, who's a guy that could play free safety as well. We have Carl Joseph. We have the one, the only Trayvon Merrick. And I do believe that Trayvon Merrick, much as you guys all believe as well, Trayvon Merrick will be our week 1 starter, in my opinion. I don't see Carl Joseph beating him out in camp. I don't see Tyree Gillespie, as much as I like Tyree Gillespie a ton, I don't see Tyree Gillespie beating out Trayvon Merrick at all. I mean, Trayvon Merrick is a 2nd round pick for a reason, right? Trayvon Merrick is the number 1 safety in this class, and that's exactly what this system needs. But Trayvon Merrick, in my opinion, week 1 starter, 110%. No doubt in my mind about that one. I think he'll just continue to impress his coaching staff, continue to be what Gus Bradley believes it'll be. And let's go into the corners, right? Obviously, in the system, I did say that I was just going to go over our base 4-3 under scheme, but I also throw in who I believe will be our slot corner in the system. But let's go to cornerback number one. Let's go to cornerback number one. And I know there's a bit of, mixed opinions about who our cornerback number one will be. And in my opinion, I believe week one, guys, just week one, Casey Hayward will be our number one corner, right? I do believe that with the confidence that Gus Bradley has, I do believe that Casey Hayward will be the guy that will be guarding the number one receivers on the opposing team, right? And that's just week one. I honestly do believe that our guy that I'm about to talk about can gain that cornerback number one role throughout the season without a doubt, because this guy has so much upside, in my opinion. But I do believe that cornerback number one is going to be Casey Hayward week one. He will be our week one starter, guarding the opposing team's number one wide receivers. Now, on the opposite side of him, we have some competition. You have Rasul Douglas, you have Isaiah Johnson, you have Damon Arnett, and you have Trayvon Mullen. Now, out of all those four guys that I just said, I do believe that week one, Trayvon Mullen is going to be starting out opposite sides of Casey Hayward, and I love that. I love that tandem. I love that duo. I mean, it's not like he's getting moved into the slot, right? I mean, he's just guarding a bit of a lesser talent on that opposing team. He's just going to be guarding the team's number two wide receiver, right? And there's no problem. And I do believe, like I said, that Trayvon Mullen probably middle of the season could probably gain that cornerback number one role. And Casey Hayward just relaxes, takes the number two receiver, and we just get better and better, right? But I do think week one, Casey Hayward, with the experience, he's been with Ron Miles. This is going to be his 6th year with Ron Miles. This will be Casey Hayward's 5th year with Gus Bradley. I do believe that just by that alone, he'll be our week one number one corner, and cornerback two will be, without a doubt, in my opinion, Trayvon Mullen. Trayvon Mullen, man, I love this guy, man. Trayvon Mullen is a really, really, really good player. And real quick, I will just talk about our slot corner, and I think that right now our slot corner will be the one, the only, Damon Arnett, right? Damon Arnett, what I like about him the most is that, yes, he played slot corner his freshman and a bit of his sophomore season, I believe with just 1 week or 1 game in his sophomore season before even being moved out to outside corner, but that was his natural position, right? That was his natural position with slot corner, and this guy has bulked up, right? He's bulked up, more muscle in my opinion, so he'll be able to play that slot very well. I mean, he was willingly being able to put his body out there on the line for this team to make tackles, and I like that, and that's exactly what you need out of a slot corner, a guy who's willingly able to put his body out there each and every play, because we all know that our slot corner means a lot to run fits in this system. So our slot corner is going to be looking like Damon Arnett, but Damon Arnett, of course, 110% can probably beat out maybe a Casey Hayward for cornerback 2 later in the season, and Casey Hayward moves to the slot, right? And you have to think about it. There's going to be a ton of rotation with Rasul Douglas here, Nate Hobbs here, Isaiah Johnson here. There's going to be a ton of rotation in this defensive back room. You have to look about it. Casey Hayward also has experience playing in free safety in the system as well. So, I mean, this defensive back room is just going to flourish all in all this year. I mean, I'm just really excited for this team. I just can't be more happy in the way that this season is going to probably end up turning out for us. And I really, 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 truly am excited for this upcoming season, man. We need to get some games. I'm so happy that we chose to do our I believe our mini camps a bit earlier than other teams. I believe there's only 2 other teams that chose to do it today. But Raider Nation, that'll be it for today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you can. And I'm out. Peace.